Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome everyone. And thank you, Amanda, for joining us again and coming back for another workshop. This is the third workshop in our little mini series with you. We had the marketing first and then the branding, and now sales to kind of wrap it all up for a little intro to business workshop for some of our vendors and those that we don't necessarily work with directly, but those that are see our posts and things like that. It's a great intro to all this information that you're able to share with them. So thank you for sharing all this, and I'll let you go ahead and get started with all this great information today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been an awesome, few weeks here with you guys. So thank you all. If you're returning, then you're kind of familiar with the flow and the style here. And if you're new, welcome. We're glad to have you. And it's going to be a fun workshop, I hope, on some new knowledge here around marketing, branding, and sales. So we did do this little mini series and already went through some marketing 101. So you had some good foundational things there to build off of. And then we went into branding concepts and getting to know more about that and how that affects your business. And now we're going to round it off with some sales knowledge and some sales in-depth kind of training here, because these were kind of the skills that we found were going to be the most helpful for you guys as you're continuing to build your businesses. So real informal. I'm going to allow you guys to jump in for ask questions in here as well. We'll have time for that either at the end, but because it's a smaller group, I'm going to allow guys to post any questions here in the chat for me while I'm presenting, and I can get those answered for you. But we'll just try and make it nice and informal here for you guys. If you haven't been at the last few workshops, my name's Amanda. I'm the founder and CEO of SmokeFire Media, which is a culturally competent marketing, PR, and advertising agency based in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Danae, Hopi, and Latina, and we only serve, just from my work and what I've known in the past, we only serve Native American and Latino markets. That's the whole purpose of SmokeFire Media, is to help raise our community's voices, tribal, Latino, in the marketplace, in the media. And so that's what I work with, business owners of all sizes, everything from solopreneurs, startups, to businesses that have been around 20 plus years and they're still having branding questions. So it never goes away, guys. Marketing, sales, all of that, branding, it's an ongoing cycle. And so that's what I've been trying to help coach you guys up here and up level your skills over the last few weeks that we've been together. And today we're talking sales. So everything around sales, we're going to start off with some basics. I'll give you the who, what, why of everything that we're going to go over today. And again, feel free to ask me questions in the chat box there. If you haven't found it yet, go ahead and check right there in the bottom, the little chat in there, because I'll also be putting some resources in there for you. Little hint, later on today. Okay, so yeah, just feel this is your time, you guys. Ajo Center has brought me in here to come help you. I'm here just for you today. And so feel free to ask questions, okay? It's all about you. You can get some real one-on-one help today and get some questions answered for you and your business. I'm happy to do that. So please utilize our time to the fullest here while we're together. All right, I'm going to get started with the presentation here on how to become a sales boss, because that is super important for us. All right, I'm going to get rid of these little controls. Hide my controls. There we go. So we're talking sales, obviously, and things that we want to get in depth in on today. I'm going to go over Sales 101. I know you guys are familiar with making sales. Obviously, if you're in business, you got to make money. But we're also going to go into some things that a lot of times we don't get taught, or probably have never even heard of, maybe utilized in our business yet, like a sales pipeline. Talking about intuitive sales conversations and active listening skills, how you can help raise those up a bit, and it's really going to help with your sales grow, either online and in person. We're going to talk about owning your worth and without sleaze. And then we're going to go into handling objections like a boss, you guys. That's what I want to help you guys get over. A lot of times, anything to do with sales gets to feel icky and sleazy because we're talking about money, right? And especially coming from our tribal communities, we don't want to feel like we're being greedy or that we're asking too much or that people are going to be paying too much for something. So these are real issues that I work with our business owners all the time on, okay? So let's dive in. Sales 101, why do I need to master sales? Well, I'm going to talk with you a little bit about my personal journey here. And some of you might be able to relate, and some of you might just be figuring out that, oh, wow, I signed up for way more than I thought here when I started a business. And now I'm really starting to feel it because guess what, you guys, you signed up for a 24/7 sales job. Welcome to that reality. If you didn't know it already, you're in it now. So my little background here that I like to share with sales, not to say it's nothing about bragging or saying like, this is, how much money I can make. It has nothing to do with that. It all has to do with the mindset that I started out with and how that's changed over the few years that I've been in business now, about 7 years. So a little fun story time, okay? I started my business with about $4,000 from a tax return, I believe it was. I just was like, hey, got this extra little bit of money. I'm gonna go jump in now. I'm gonna do it all in. And I had no idea really how I was gonna make sales. I just really thought, honestly, and this is, the naivety that some of us come from, like myself, when I started, that it was so needed what I was going to be doing. People were just going to see, wow, that's so needed. What value, how great. And just start throwing money at me. Basically, I thought it was going to be easy, just like out there cashing checks right and left. Because I was starting a media business. So everything I was doing was around advertising. I thought advertising, great, that should be an easy thing to go and find. Everyone needs advertising for their business, right? And I quickly realized, guys, a couple of months in, that rent is coming due, all the bills are coming due. I couldn't get people to call me back. And when I did finally make a sale, it took literally months to see a check. Okay. And for some of you, if you've been working in our tribal communities for any amount of time, we know that things are not that quick, right? Especially working with like city businesses, it's very different from working in an urban setting to going out into our tribal communities, especially doing business and how we make sales, okay? Literally, we could go out of business trying to do business with a tribe. Some of you know that struggle, but things don't move as fast in Indian country. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but we got to know that going in. So I didn't know that going in. I just thought, oh, okay, transactions, should be easy, pay in, you get a check, someone owes you money, that's just going to pay you right away. Not always the case. So flash forward from that, I was really struggling because I didn't focus on sales when I first started the business, guys. I really did just think, oh, I can go out, make connections. I'm just going to meet people and they'll start asking to buy from me. And that didn't happen, obviously. And that was really when I got the hard wake-up call of like, wow, you need to learn how to make money. That's actually what you needed to focus on, not just the product or not just the here's what I'm doing, my purpose and it sells itself. You need to actually put some thought and intention around how you go about making money. So from making less than 40,000, and probably wasn't even that per year in the beginning, was appalling, and not having any consistent income. It was like a roller coaster ride, right? Like, oh, maybe this month will be good, maybe, and the next month, like nothing. Next month is great, then you're back down to like nothing. And I literally couldn't stand getting on the phone to make a sales call. I would avoid it at all costs, okay? Some of you have in-person businesses. It's a little bit easier. You're like, I just show up and I can make sales. But what happened, like in a pandemic, where you have to completely change your formula, so there's no more in-person. Now we're maybe all doing everything online. Now, how are you supposed to do that, right? You're not even able to talk to people most of the time anymore. You're relying on technology. So all of those are huge reasons for why sales is so important, okay? So I went from hating all of that because it made me feel gross, having to call people and ask and follow up and say, would you really want to buy? Would you buy? How about now? How about now? To finally being able to sign consistent new clients, closing about $10,000 months consistently, and even being able to raise $45,000 in 1 month for a new venture I started during the pandemic. Okay, that's huge, right? To be able to make those kinds of leaps and bounds. But I want to tell you, that's not always the case. It's not like a Cinderella thing, poof, it just happens. Okay, there's actually how to do it, really hard work in there. Okay, I had to hire a sales coach. And I committed, I went all in on practicing the sales techniques that I learned and implementing them in my business. So that's what I'm here to do today, is to help share with you some of these techniques and real structural things that you can put in place for your business so that you don't have to feel like I have no idea where my money's coming from this month. Okay, that's never a good feeling. We don't want to be there. All right, and we started all with first bringing it down to the very nitty gritty. What is sales at the very core of it? It's all about relationship building, okay? And I like to bring it around to something that anyone can relate to. It doesn't matter what stage of life for your business in, but we kind of think of sales like dating, okay? It's really all about relationship, that building that relationship, like I said, from the start, from ground zero, and getting to know people, okay? It does take time. I never encourage business owners to think about their sales as just transactions, because it's not. It's an entire cycle and it takes time. And if you really want to have a sustainable sales pipeline, you will think forward and start to invest in your sales, an aligned sales strategy, rather than just how much money am I bringing in every day? How many sales did I make this week? Okay, it's not a transaction. It's not just a transaction. So what I like to teach and what I coach on is an aligned sales philosophy, if you will, or perspective, where, like I said, we're not just thinking about the transaction, we're thinking further out, and we're coming from a service mindset. We're being active listeners, and we come up with ideal client solutions. All of those are pieces of an aligned sales mindset so that your sales become more than just those numbers, and they start to actually help your clients and where they want to come back to you. You're creating an experience now for them. You're building a relationship. And for that reason, they want to come back and buy from you over and over again. And you're not having to continue to scrounge around for those sales from ground zero every month. Okay. So the service mindset, that means, and it just comes from wanting the absolute best possible outcome for your client. So instead of thinking, hey, how can I get this person to buy from me today? What do I got to do? Do I need to throw out a discount? Do I need to throw in something extra? I just want to make the sale, to making the shift to, I actually want the best for you. I want to figure out not just, can you buy from me today, right now, but what really serves you in your best interest for the future, for the long term. Okay, so maybe even making a sale to them right now isn't the best time. Maybe it's not the best solution for them right now. And you can see that because you're the expert, you're the business owner, right? And maybe you say to them, hey, maybe it's not the right time, but here's my contact info. I'm going to give you some other resources, or I have something here that you can try, like a trial thing. And let's keep talking, because I really want to earn your business, or I really want to create a business relationship with you. Okay, that's an entirely different mindset here. And it's hard sometimes for people to wrap their heads around this at first, because you're like, well, why wouldn't I just want to make the sale? So let's keep talking about this. But first piece we need to get to is the service mindset and why that's important. So wanting the best for your client is the first and most important thing in the aligned sales mindset. We're also talking about radical responsibility. What I mean by this is you need to fully show up at every stage of the sales process. Your client needs to feel like you feel the love, feel the care from you. And this is also crucial into building that relationship, because if you showed up at the very beginning, say you're like at the market and they're getting to know you, and it's like, great, that was fun, you know, we met some new people, maybe you made a sale, and then after that you completely just drop off the face of the planet, you don't talk to them again until the next market. Okay, this is your radical responsibility, is how do you show up at every stage? So at the follow-up after you've made a sale, how do you continue to create the relationship with them when they're not in front of you? Okay, how do you continue to service them after they've bought the product? You know, what other value are you adding to their lives to make them want to come back? Okay, so helping them feel that you actually care about them is radical responsibility in how you show up for them. Active listening is the next piece here. Again, this is super key to getting clear on their needs, not just what you want to sell them, not just what you think they need. Okay, so really listening to them, and this we'll talk a lot more about in our active listening conversations, but really listening to what they need and not just what you want to sell them at the moment. Okay. The next key piece here is giving more than you take. And this is always, you know, there's that saying about people might not always remember what you tell them, but they remember how you make them feel, right? Is part of this whole relationship building. So you're giving more than you're taking. And the selling process really begins way before you actually make a sale or create the sales call, okay? There's so much you could be doing to add value before you ever ask for the transaction, okay? So giving more than you take, that could look like anything like giving a trial sample before you ask them to buy. It could be like providing a free resource, giving them support or advice or counseling before they actually become a client, because they're just starting to know you, right? They're just going on that first date. You don't want to jump to the marriage, you know, show up and like, okay, hey, here I am. I got this and that for you. Let's get married. No, that's not how it works, right? It takes a minute. You slow down. Let's try things out for a minute. Are we a good fit for each other, right? So just using that dating analogy there, again, is just take a step back, give more than you take, learn about the person's needs and wants first, then we can start to have the sales conversation. This is really, a lot of it has to do with taking away that feeling of, oh, you just want to buy it, you just want my money, right? Because we all know how those kinds of sales conversations feel. We know what they look like the minute they pop up and people run. They can smell that kind of salesy conversation a mile away, and it's just going to repel people from you, okay? Even if they bought from you once, maybe if that relationship or that transaction didn't feel great, they're not going to come back, right? So this is how we start to change it from just being a transaction to becoming an aligned salesperson and creating that experience in our business. So next, after we've started to realize, hey, I need to do more here than just ask for people's money or just get people's money, how do I continue to build on that relationship and that whole experience with the customer so that they want to come back, right? So that I get them as a client for life rather than just the right now, right here, right now. And we begin to do that through a sales pipeline. So what the heck is that? Why do I need one? Because this was that piece. This was a big piece for me, guys. I don't know about you, but for me, this was a huge piece in that whole era of going from the, I don't know why people aren't calling me back, or how do I get sales in, to that now we're able to create consistent income. This is that key whole structure there. You need a sales pipeline. No one told me I needed this before when I started my business. Yes, we talk about marketing. Yeah, we talk about branding, but no one told me about the sales pipeline here. Okay, guys, it's a huge piece, huge. And I'm going to show you here why. The sales pipeline is simply the process of how a client or a customer goes through the journey of getting to know you. Say they just knew nothing about you, they met you at a market or they met you at a networking event, who knows, going from there to all the way to the end of the sales pipeline where they become a customer, they've bought something from you, there's money exchange, great. And now there's a relationship there for you to build on. So that's what the sales pipeline is, how they go along that journey to become a client or a customer, okay? So it starts off with a cold lead is what we call them, with somebody that you, potential new customer, new client is a cold lead, right? And it goes from warm to hot. That's pretty simple. We can kind of visualize that in our minds as to how people are going along this journey. It starts off cold, warm, and they get hot to where they're about ready to buy, okay? So the sales pipeline is simply that, tracking from where they come in as a cold lead, transition to warm, transition again to hot, and then you have on hand how many of those you have in your pipeline at any given time to continuously cultivate and move them through the process. So if you want to look at this, just like I said, a pipeline, you have these different phases going in your pipeline, how many people are in each stage, and then the actions that you take to help guide them and nurture them along so that they keep moving through the pipeline. They don't just stop at one stage, or they don't drop off completely in the process and never make it to that sales phase. Okay, so a lot of it is numbers game. You have to know how many leads you're going to need to make a certain amount of sales. We do need to know that, but understanding the whole process and continuously moving people into that pipeline is really what I'm trying to help you guys understand here today. Okay, so leads can come literally from anywhere, right? If you think about all the ways that you get someone interested in knowing about your product, they can come from anywhere. But if you have no plan, just no plan out there, just kind of doing stuff willy-nilly, showing up, and you're just like, well, whatever happens, happens, okay? Then those leads are just dead in the water, right? And this is what was happening to me in those beginning phases. Like I said, yeah, I knew how to meet people, connect, network, all that, get your business cards, but I had no plan to actually act on and continue building those relationships, okay? They were just dead in the water. They didn't go anywhere after I talked to them maybe the first or second time, okay? You do need to know your sales timeline. This is also crucial in your pipeline and helping it move along, because you need to know how long it takes from someone to go from that cold phase, they just barely met you, and to the hot phase where they actually buy from you. How long is that process? Is it instantaneous? You know, is it like a day or two, or is it a week, or is it much longer? Is it a month or month plus, right? Some of us, depending on what kind of business you have, that pipeline timeline is going to be different for each of you. Okay, so there's no like right or wrong, this is that. You just have to know yours for your business, okay? So it's the estimated time it takes from them to go from cold to hot and close an actual sale, okay? A strong and well-planned pipeline is literally the only way, it is the only way, guys, to consistently predict your income and plan your promotional activities. So this is, again, so many people miss this, guys, because like I said, it's not taught to you anywhere unless you're like, something's wrong here. I've been on social media every day. I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I'm doing the things and nothing's happening. This is why, because you didn't know that you needed to connect the dots and actually help pull people along a sales pipeline in there. Okay, just showing up with your marketing is great. Yes, you do need to show up, but you need to have a plan for how to move people along. And this is why so many people tell me, as business owners that I work with, yeah, I'm showing up and doing all these things, but I can't get any, I don't know what my sales are. I don't know. It's really inconsistent anytime that I post stuff, or I get things on Instagram more and not on Facebook. Well, guys, it's because your sales pipeline is kind of cracked right now and you don't know where the leaks are coming out of and where people are falling off, okay? So it's the only way to really predict your income. If you wanted to go from the stage of like, well, this was a good month, I don't know why, but it was great. And then the next month is just like horrible and you don't know why. The only way to go from that to like, no, we have sales goals every month. This month is 5K. We're going to build on that after that next quarter and up it to 20%. That's how businesses do it, guys. They know their sales pipeline and they know how to create sales projections built off of those, but you got to have this plan. Okay, that's the only way to really do it. And then you can start to plan promotional activities like offers and discounts and all of that around seasonality. So really key to get this in place. every lead you want to look at as a potential sale, and they're not just transactions, right? They're real people, real relationships. So that's how I'd like to encourage you to start looking at when you meet new people or when you get new inquiries in. Every one of them could be a potential sale, maybe not right now, but down the line. And people do really remember how you treat them, what that first impression was from the beginning. So start to shift your mind a little bit around, it's not money for right now, just for today, it's for the long term, okay? And it actually saves your money, save your business tons of money by return customers. I'll talk about a little bit more about that later. But so again, guys, if you have any questions on this stuff, because it is going into a whole mindset shift here, right? This takes time to really sink in. So if you have any questions that come up as I'm talking about, like, what does this mean? What's that thing? Please feel free to pop it in the chat. I'll keep checking on it here as we go along. I don't know if I can see it on when my controls are out, but I think I should be able to. So the intuitive sales conversation. Once we understand what the heck a sales pipeline is, what it's for, now what do we do, right? Like, how do we actually begin to put that into place? And also, how do we begin to talk to people like they're not just a transaction anymore, right? And I like to call this the I hate making sales calls stage, because this is literally where we get a big giant block, a wall comes up when I'm working with clients around how they're going to start being more intentional around their sales, because they actually have to confront it now and make it an intentional part of your life. We're like, well, I can't just wait for them to come in anymore. I'm actually going to go out and do it. Oh no, I hate this part. I hate this part. So if sales or relationships are real relationships, like we said they are, we can't assume no one's going to get married, quote unquote, or close sales by just pulling them down to the altar. You're not just going to yank someone over there and say, come on, let's go. We're going to get over here. Let's go get married. Because that's how it feels when you're trying to force a sales to happen. That's just not working. Same with relationships, right? I don't know, I haven't been married, but I know that no one was going to get me there by saying, hey, you look like a good one. Let's just go get there right now. And the same way with your sales and your clients, you're not just going to look at them and say, oh, you ready to buy? Let's go do it. I'm here. Let's make it happen. They got to know, like, and trust you first for them to exchange this trust, exchange the energy that is money into your hands, into your account. That's what they're doing. That's what the actual action of them giving money, putting money in your hand is an exchange of energy and trust. Okay, big difference from just looking at it like, oh, I need these dollars, I need to get money in here. Okay, so that's part of our shift that we're talking about here in mindset around transactions and money. So the key to this, building new kinds of transactional, going away from transactional to intuitive sales relationships, it starts with the first conversations that you have with them around sales, around whatever product or service that you're selling, okay? And it's about tapping into your most loving and caring and giving energy possible, okay? Always assuming the best rather than the worst, right? Because if you go into this, and like I said, we've all at some point experienced that sleazy, gross feeling, salesy, like the car salesman type of conversation where they're just coming at you, they're aiming at you like a shark, and they're just ramming at you and trying to shove a sale down your throat that you don't want, or they're just coming in with so much aggression and pressure, and maybe you gave in and actually bought something from them, and you walked away from that feeling like, oh my God, what just happened? I didn't actually want that thing, and I ended up with it anyways. I feel gross, right? You just kind of felt like you got taken advantage of. And so if we move away from that, the opposite of that kind of reaction or that kind of situation is by actually coming at someone with care, with concern, with actually wanting to help them. Okay, this is that service mindset. So when you go into sales, you need to be in that frame of mind. I would actually encourage you to never have a sales call until you've prepped yourself fully to have those kinds of open conversations, not like a, oh my gosh, I hate this, I don't want to do this. And then you call someone, they can feel it through the phone. Okay. I don't know if you've had those kind of conversations either, where they're just literally going down the list and they're like cold calling. That feels gross and sleazy. Also, we don't want to be that. So you need to tap into this mindset first before you go forward and start to engage people in a sales conversation. Okay, once you're in the state, like I said, you can start to feel your way around the conversation, lovingly, caringly, and being supportive to your client, because you're moving away from, oh, it's just about me, it's just about what I need. I need to pay the bills, I need to make this money today, I need to blah, blah, blah. People can feel that energy, guys, a mile away. They're just there for the money, right? So if you can put that aside, it takes some work, it takes some practice, but you need to be able to put that aside and put your client first, like I said, and actually come there and say, what do you need today? How can I help you today? You know, rather than just saying, I got this to sell today, I got this for you, I bet you could use this, right? And just shoving things in their face. So active listening comes from 80% listening and 20% talking. Okay, active listening is you really, you're taking notes on what they're saying. You have some kind of a structure on your calls. If you're on just like a phone call, or if you're in person, I would still encourage you to have like a little notebook, because you can't keep all of this stuff in your head all the time, but putting down a few notes, someone's talking to you and saying like, okay, they talked about, they really needed this service, or they really would like help with this product, you know, something like that. But you're actually listening to, what did they tell you they're having issues with right now? What did they tell you that they're really looking for? What are some pain points that they're experiencing that they didn't like? You know, they're like struggling because their vendors are like this, or their current suppliers are like this. So really listening to those needs. Okay, that's active listening, rather than just hearing in your head, oh, I just need to make this sales today, right? So really listening to what they need. And every call or every conversation, if you're doing stuff mainly in person, you'll have to practice this, you know, kind of modeling and doing these mock interviews or mock sales calls with people. That's what I would encourage, but you should have a script. So every sales conversation has a little journey that you go on, and it's kind of like going up a hill and going on a little walk with someone. Okay, there's stages that you need to go through as you're bringing someone through the sales conversation, so that it feels whole, that it feels complete, and you actually have a goal that you're trying to complete with each conversation. Okay, so listen for things that they repeat. Those are for sure things you want to write down. You need to write down. If they keep saying, yeah, this supplier I have they're unreliable. Oh, and then I tried using them again, but they don't call me back. They're not accountable, things like that. And then they overcharge me or something. They keep bringing up this issue with vendors. Write it down, because that's something they really said that they needed. And how can you bring value to that, or how can you provide a solution to that? Okay, things that they really state as a need, not just a want. Okay, that really, really frustrate them, because those are the key things that are going to stick with them as you begin to get to know them and share with them what you do to provide a solution to that. But if you're just talking about stuff that's important to you, right? This is again that shift in how you talk with clients. You need to be talking about those things that they told you were their real needs and frustrations, not just what you were there and brought today to be the cover-all solution to everyone you talk to. Okay, make it real personal to them. So these intuitive conversations, like I said, are huge. It takes practice, it takes time to begin to feel your way around these conversations in a new way. I mentioned the sales call script, which if you've never used one before, because I never had when I had first started my business, it's a little like, what does that mean? What the heck is that? I'm going to provide you my script outline today that I use with my coaching clients. You can download that. If you guys were here last week, you saw I had given away a freebie there as well. So this is that time again. Let me go ahead over here, and I'm going to copy this link for you guys. Oops, I don't want that whole link. I just want this one. I just want this one. There we go. Copy, done. And now I'm going to put it up here for you guys in the chat. Because you are doing the work, because you showed up, because I want to help and make sure you guys are successful and get the most out of today's training. So go ahead, I just put that in the chat for you here today. You should be able to view it, download it, and make it your own. But the sales script, guys, is what's going to help lead you on that sales conversation. Even if you're an in-person vendor, right? Say you're doing markets, you're going to festivals or things like that. You need to understand how you can help people at every stage of their buying journey, right? So the sales script will help you shorten those conversations down and get really honed in and focused on making that sales conversation happen, not only quicker, but talking directly to the needs of the people that visit you, that you're interacting with, so that you can provide them the best experience, the best sales experience, right? So, it's hard at festivals and stuff like that. They're just coming up and they're just buying from you. If they like it, they saw it. But if you talk to people more, if you typically you're just buying, or they're buying stuff and you're just selling it, and you're not really having a conversation, you're not then getting some feedback that is really valuable to you for your marketing and for your continued sales. So I would encourage you to then start implementing these kinds of conversations a little bit more. Just step out. It takes just one good step every time where you start to make progress. So instead of just going straight to the sale, you could say, oh, what did you really like about this? Or have you tried this kind of product before? Or did you know this thing about our products and services? Okay, starting that conversation, then you can get to know a bit more, and that starts that relationship building process, okay? Rather than just here, oh yeah, you wanna buy this bar of soap, here it's $5, I take it, you're done, bye, thank you for coming. Okay, we want to build a relationship from that. Start with just the, oh, well, thank you so much for coming. If you didn't know, I'm doing all these other things this month. I'd love for you to join me. If you follow me on social, you'll get the whole list of places I'll be. Or if you follow me on social, you'll get this like discount to use at one of the other festivals I'm at this month. Things like that, right? You're starting to build a relationship. So download that sales script, guys. It'll help you as well in person, but also online. And if you ever have to do sales calls over the phone, that's super key because phone calls are hard. Phone calls are hard because you have no way to really gauge, the facial expressions or where people are at. People are different on the phone. So be sure to take that, download it, study it, and it'll help you out in getting those conversations practice, those intuitive conversations that you need to have, okay? So we have that. Cool, any questions? Please, again, put them in the chat for me so that I can get to them while I'm speaking with you as well. The next area that we're gonna go into here, great, we started talking about our mindset shift, how to start building relationships, not just looking at transactions. We talked about the sales pipeline and how crucial that is so that you can you go from just roller coaster sales up and down every month to actually planning, projecting, knowing what your income is going to be every month. That's why that's key, right? Now we talked a little bit about those building intuitive conversations, not just transactional conversations. Now the other big piece here that's always huge in sales, objections. Objections, people hate getting told no, right? This is why people hate doing sales calls or having to build long-term sales relationships, because you have to deal with people telling you no. And yep, again, sorry to tell you, if you didn't know before today, you are a 24/7 salesperson. Being an entrepreneur, that's the job that you signed up for that you didn't know. Again, along with being a business owner and a marketer and knowing all of your back-end business stuff, yes, sales is one of your number one hats that you wear every single day, because without that money, your business is dead in the water, right? So owning your worth is a huge piece that comes here. Anything around money, like I said, brings up a lot of underlying issues that we have ourselves as people not just as business owners, as people personally, because money gets to be personal with people. Why? Because it relates money to people's worth. And that's why people have a lot of issues around handling money and making sales calls or asking people to pay what they want or what they're worth, what they feel the price should be, not what the customer thinks it's worth. This is where all of that comes up. Huge, huge piece. I always save this piece for last when I'm coaching my clients, because it's a very in-depth topic. Like I said, there's a lot of waiting around in the worth topic that we have to go through, because if you're not able to wrap your head around what your own limitations with money are, guys, you're never gonna get to the goals that you set for yourself. Okay, maybe they're not big goals right now, but as you go along and knowing these different phases as a business owner, your business changes over time. Your goals change over time, your knowledge, all of that. You gain expertise, you gain skill sets, all of those things as you go further and further along in business. And guess what happens, guys? You get to learn how much things cost, how much your time is worth. And so this issue around what you're worth, what your time is worth, what your business, what your services and products are worth is going to fluctuate because you are learning to have a different relationship with money. Okay, because a lot of us, I know, coming from our tribal communities, we're taught that wanting money is greed. Right? That is greedy. You can't want money. That's no good for you. It's evil. It's causing all these problems. And well, what I would tell you today is kind of it's probably my controversial comment for the day, which is fine. I have a lot of those. My controversial comment for the day is that actually money is not evil. Money is not the problem. It could be the real solution and a tool. However, people are the ones that are using it wrong. We're the ones that have a bad relationship with it, because to me, all of what money is just energy. It's just a reflection of our own energy out there, and how we choose to use it is what gets done with it. And that's kind of what goes out into the world. So if money comes into my hands, guys, the way I believe that it happens for me is when money comes into my hands, everyone benefits from it. It's not greed. It's not evil or selfish of me to want for more money, because what I do with my money goes right back into my communities. It supports you guys. It supports a mission that's helping everybody. So yeah, I want all the money I can get. I want all the good stuff coming to me, because I'm going to put that back out into the community and the universe as more things that I can help and make impact in the world. So big difference, right? From looking at money as greedy and I don't want to make too much to I want all the money, right? That's a huge difference, and it shows up in sales every single day. So worth, objections, how much do I charge? Great questions. They all come down to this in your owning your worth in your sales, okay? Standing your ground when it comes to sales is extremely confronting because of what I just went over. It's extremely personal. You may feel your price is a reflection of your worth, right? That, oh, I can't charge that much right now because maybe I'm just new. I'm a new business owner. But this is not true. It's absolutely not true. Actually, and this is kind of the hard piece of truth here, because people always wonder that too. Why is so-and-so, why is this consultant able to charge, $500 an hour, and this other one only charges $50 an hour? And what's the difference, But really, this is what it comes down to, guys. Price is simply, a lot of it is all psychology, okay? Price of something is simply, it's a combination of what you feel your product or service is worth, plus what your ideal client is willing to pay. Those are just the two. That's how the whole combination, the whole formula works, is what you feel it's worth plus what they feel they're willing to pay for it. Okay, so how the heck do we decide what that is, right? It's this is why coming and standing in your worth is key, because you do not, write this part down. I would definitely write this key piece down. Do not, guys, when you're first starting your business, or even as you're going along and becoming a veteran business owner, do not discount all the years and tears and fears it took you to gain the expertise and skills to do your job. Okay, that is always the first thing that I have to help come and course correct with my clients, is when they feel like, well, how do I get more sales? The first thing they do is say, well, I guess I'm going to offer a discount. No, 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 no. You're giving stuff away for free and you don't even know why. You're just literally, your first reaction to I need more sales is I need to give away more money. No, guys, this is part of the problem. This is part of the money issues that we're trying to work with here. Stand in your worth. Do not start discounting stuff just because you need to make a sale. All right, absolutely the opposite direction of where I would suggest you go. Because your ideal clients, if you know who your ideal clients are, which we talked a lot about this in our last few sessions here. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch this, because that's the whole conversation here where we're talking about ideal clients. They will not try and price cut you. Okay, people that actually believe what you're doing is purposeful, it's important, they value you as a business owner, or they value your product and service, are never going to try and tell you you're not worth that $500 an hour, or you're not worth that, you know, $10 an item or something when somebody else charges $5. Okay, they're not going to be the ones that are going to come and tell you, oh, well, I know someone who can do it for less. That's not who you want to be selling to. Then you're like, great, then go get it from them. That's what I tell people when if anyone tries to tell me. That doesn't happen often, but sometimes if they say, oh, well, I know so-and-so and they do it for this, I'm like, great, you should go hire them. I'm absolutely okay with that, because you're not my tribe. You're not who I'm trying to work with here. Okay, you're not my ideal client, and that's okay. That is totally 100% okay to realize that someone's not a good fit for you and your product, but you need to be confident and own that worth. You're the one that needs to stand grounded in that worthiness and say, I'm okay with losing this sale, quote unquote, because honestly, guys, and for any of you that have been in business for a while, know if you've done those, if you made those concessions on your worth, like I've done, and you said, oh, okay, no, you're right, I can do a discount this time, or okay, I'll come down and meet you where you're at. Those clients, once you got them, oh man, those are your those are your, how do I say this nicely? Those are your bend over backwards. They want the moon in the sky. They want everything done their way. They're going to criticize you at each step along the way, and they're always going to be questioning what you're doing. Those guys are the worst kinds of clients to have, and you'll know it once you've done it. So if you don't believe me, go for it. Some people need to learn the hard way. Go out, take those clients and see how great they treat you after you gave them a big old discount because they thought you should charge less. So this is why we need to understand the value of things. It's not just what somebody else said it was because they charge a lower price. It's what your worth is, what you know your worth is, plus what that ideal client is willing to pay. Okay, you just got to find the right clients then, the ones that are going to be willing to pay you what you're worth. So objections, though, are they're all part of the process. You're never just going to get away from objections. Okay, even with ideal clients, sometimes they still have objections, but they're very valid points. Maybe they're valid points of them getting to trust you. All right, so once you get to see that objections they're always going to happen, and they're going to come from a variety of places. The most of the objections you come across, guys, in any of your sales are 100% preventable, like meaning that you could have prevented having that objection come up had you given them a little bit better information, communicated a different way, or you provided value way beforehand, like we talked about, to prevent them from questioning certain things. So for instance, the better you get at creating this consistent value in your conversations, like we said, in those intuitive conversations, the less objections you're going to encounter overall anytime that you start these conversations. Okay. Also, the less your self-esteem will suffer, because you're going to get so good at getting them to the point of knowing, liking, and trusting you that they're just ready to buy from you. You're encountering a lot less no's than you would have in the past had you not done these objection preventing techniques. Okay, so here's just a few examples of those objections that we all know and love in our sales conversations. Oh, it costs too much, right? Number one, all of us have heard that, I'm sure, somewhere along the way. It costs too much, so I'm going to help decipher what these mean for the client on their side as they're in that sales pipeline. What does that mean for you? What do you do about it then? Okay, because a lot of times you might just say, okay, I'm sorry, it costs too much. Well, I guess go over there, or okay. So what does that mean for you? It costs too much. Well, that just means your client doesn't fully see the value yet of what you're offering. You don't have enough information is what this kind of objection means. So maybe you need to outline things better in your messaging, in your social media, or when you're having the conversation with them of why it costs, why this price point is where it's at. Like, oh, they're all organic ingredients. Oh, we use a special process that's not found anywhere else, something like that. That helps them understand why the price point is where it's at. So when you're talking with people in their conversations, you should be bringing up some of these points, because then eventually it's always going to get to the point where they say, well, how much does it cost? And you're going to tell them, and they're going to now have the information to understand why does it cost so much. Okay, so they just don't see the value yet. You need to provide more information. The next objection, I had to think about it more, right? Maybe you went through the whole song and dance, you get to talk about them, you get to know their needs. You're like, I did the whole script. I did the whole song and dance with them. And all they came back with was, I need to think about it more. You're like, dang it, what am I supposed to do with that? This objection here is an issue of trust. Maybe it didn't have to do with price, because they didn't say anything about price. They didn't say anything about the product or the service. It's because they don't trust you yet, or maybe they don't trust with themselves yet. Okay, where I come from selling a lot of high ticket products and services to people. A lot of times, guys, it doesn't even have anything to do with me or the product I'm selling. It's that they themselves even don't value themselves enough to pay for something that price point. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. Trust is a big deal, like I said, in these building relationships. So this objection is all about trust, either towards you or within themselves. So we need to get our heads around that. But at least that tells you what direction to go with your follow-up steps. Okay, build more trust then. We need to build more trust. The next one we have, I know someone who does it for less. We kind of talked about this one already. It's a price cut trap. Don't do it. And again, that's a quick and easy one. If they did actually already know someone who does it for less, then hey, let them go. Let them know. It's great. They can go work with them instead. Okay, but it's all about, they're just price cutting you. They don't see your worth there as well. So that's the quick action for that, quick and easy action for that. The next most common objection we all hear, I can't afford it right now. This is an issue of confidence, and you need to help take a stand for them. This one's also a little bit hardest to work around, because you're like, oh, well, I should just leave them alone. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to, try and make them pay for something they can't pay. Well, guys, in the high ticket world, if you are trying to raise prices and things like that, and your clients, you're always going to get some resistance there, but it's about helping them to coach them around it, especially if it's something that they need. Okay, this is talking more on the service side, because a lot of service providers don't just go by what they can provide you right now and here. They might be trying to help you transition through a change, like nutrition coaches. You don't see those results right now today. You're going to see it over time, and trying to charge someone a lot of money for a result they're not going to see right away is a big deal. And this is where a lot of service providers have an issue of confidence of how to help coach people around their own confidence issues of how to come up with the money, right? Because, and this one too, again, guys, you know, it's all about money. It's all about money relationships and your people's relationship with money. I've never known a person who, if they really, really wanted something, couldn't go out and find the money today or tomorrow within a week. Okay, think about that. Anytime when you've really ever been pressed and you were like, oh my gosh, I really need this thing. Say the rent was due next week and you're just like, oh, I can't, I don't know. You got creative, right? How many people did you go and ask for money? Did you go and take out a short-term loan? Did you go, I don't know, you go put something in the pawn shop? Like there are things people are willing to do when they feel like something is worth it enough. Now, it might always be extreme. Your product service is not going to be to that level of extremity where they need to go and like take out these loans, but there's definitely conversations you can have with, well, what if we got curious? Where would you think you could find the money if you really needed to do that today? Like, do you have a credit card? Maybe you can put a down payment on that with that today. Or I'm willing to work with you on how we can structure a payment plan. I'm willing to help you with that today so that you can get the thing that you need right now. Health issues, that's a big deal. You want to help the person. You don't want them to keep on going, not getting the help that they need just because they couldn't figure out their money confidence issues right now. So these are the ways that really standing in your worth, understanding those clients and where they're coming from helps to not just build, like I said, make a transaction. You're really taking a stand for them and helping them get the help that they need. So again, all depends on the client, depends on the situation, but these are the most common objections that we come across. And there's some ways of deciphering what those mean to you and to the client, how you can get around it. Okay, so that's a lot. Like I told you, it was going to be quite a bit. So if you need more help, like I said, going into any of these areas, Amanda, I didn't get what that means. Talk to me more about what the heck is an intuitive conversation, or giving examples of what that means. I'm going to offer you guys the same as I did last week. It's a brand strategy, but we can also talk about sales, anything in your marketing, okay? 30-minute consultation with any of you to help go over these questions or what you're experiencing in your business, okay? I'm willing to talk any of those areas. It doesn't just have to be sales. So if you have questions on like social media or your pricing or what can I do to help, transition stuff online, all of those are things that I help work people through during these pandemic times and all kinds of crazy things that are happening. But I'm going to put that up in the chat for you guys here as well. Put that link up there for you. Where's my controls here again? I'm going to open this back up. That's what I'm trying to do, stop sharing. And I'll put this link up here for you guys. And in the meantime, while I put this up here, it's question and answer time. So what questions do you guys have, if any, for me over all the stuff that just happened in those areas? Feel free to take yourself off mute if you want, or if you feel more comfortable, put it in the chat. Either way is great. And I have this link. There you go. I just put up the link for that free consultation call with me. And all we'll do is just go a bit more into what you're experiencing, what questions you have, and I'll get them answered for you. I'll help point you in the right direction on that call if you need it. All right. What questions do you guys have for me?
No, I have, well, actually, no, I just wanted, thank you for clarifying some things to us. Yeah, it was, hearing some of those things. Yeah. Especially the one, this is cheaper at the store than it's at the market. Those are kind of things are happening, but I think everything you just said just it just made more sense now, and having no, and then connecting this to your social media, presence, if no, do all of these apply when they're on, whether they're in person or online?
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
okay, yeah, no, definitely, because we are offering. We just did our first in-person market uh, just this past Saturday at a festival,
Mhm.
and there was a mini market in it because we have multiple vendors that have we have cultivated over the over the year, because of the we weren't able to do anything in person because of the COVID
Mhm.
restrictions and guidelines. And I say restrictions meaning on the reservation, but we're able to be an event where everybody um, was good, and then also just yeah, it was just our first event, and I felt a little rusty, but and also uh, yeah, just hearing those again just bring back memories, and hustling and bustling from the farmers market. So no, thank you for kind of bringing those back around. I mean, it just makes sense now for me, just because it's I was no, I grow the food. I also not just harvest the food. I actually bring it to the market, and then I tell people exactly what it is, because there's just so many no there's so many foods that can be grown in Arizona,
Mhm.
and we are limited to so much space. It's kind of hard. It's really, but also being able to make that relationship, and also expanding and doing online um, online sales too as well. So this is really good. No, this is really good tools you're giving us to really push ourselves to go to the next level. So I just really, I don't think I really have a question. Just wanted to say thank you for sharing these things, because it's really something that I have kind of didn't really think about it, or I didn't stop to think about it um, until we actually started our first event again, and then made me think about, okay, how do we promote ourselves? How do we market it? What's the sales like, and how do we keep the sales part? Because anyway, it's a business uh, that we're doing. One part is farming, one part is artisans, uh, and really just be able to take those next steps and keep pushing things forward.
Yeah.
And yeah, so no, I just really want to say thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad it's helpful to you. That's really good feedback for me. Then at least I know that it's helpful to you guys. But yeah, like I said, it's all things that I work one-on-one with so many Native business owners on, because we struggle with a lot of the same things as we're starting out a business, and it's very different. A lot of times for us working in our tribal communities than just if you were out in the city, or doing something here with other non-native business streams as well. So, but yeah, really just starting to think about being intentional about creating those sales, so you're not always on that roller coaster, and you're able to start creating sustainable business model where you're able to say, we know how much we make every month, every year, what to expect, right? That's what takes you off that sales roller coaster. So so I'm glad that you guys are doing that work now, and it's gonna help pay off. I know that for sure.
And no, thank you so much, and I'm gonna watch your videos all over again, just to brushing up on my skills again,
Yes.
because we were, yeah, for a year and a half, um, our team has really uh, gone from growing food to really trying to feed people during the pandemic. and when everybody was panic buying, and being on the reservation, being the over people being over 100+ miles away from the next store,
Mm.
and then being limited on how much you can get from the store
Yeah.
it was really hard, and our whole team just went from uh, you know, from really working hard and repackaging, giving out free food, and yeah, to actually just to be able to actually do this first this first event. And a little insight, we had this, we were so it's been a long time since we've done a in-person market and be able to sell stuff. It's actually kind of nice. I wasn't a part of it, but because I was giving a talk during this festival. But knowing what the sales were after the event was closed, it just made me think about these workshops that you were giving, and I'm like, okay, they really need to brushing up. So no, but thank you
Yeah.
for doing this. Uh, Thank you for letting us record this and be able to use this for not just for ourselves, but for other people for the future.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, that's all what I'm here for. All about supporting our small business owners. So why I do the work that I do, there's just not enough people out there supporting our communities in this, like especially in marketing and media work. So be sure to take advantage of that, the free consult call. If you have more questions, I'd be happy to go over those with you. But yeah, thank you for your comments. And I think we have another question here from Leah in the chat. She's asking, do you have tips on cold outreach schedules? For example, if you are emailing new contacts and are not hearing back, what should follow-ups look like? So you said this is cold outreach, right, Leah? So wherever you got the emails from is kind of key as well. I'm not sure where these cold schedules are coming from, like if you bought lists or something like that to call, or if you just pulled them somewhere. So if you're just starting to email them and you're not hearing back, that's number one, is because they're really not, there's no relationship there, right? Maybe they don't know who you are from anyone. So just an example of, like, I get these kinds of emails all the time too. They're just straight outreach, cold outreach to my email. However they got my email, from marketing people or affiliates or what have you, they get it and they just start emailing you. Well, my number one, I've seen all range of these kinds of emails, and I'll tell you for sure, Leah, the best ones that I've seen, if there are some good ones, these outreach emails, the best way that I've seen is someone actually attempting to create a relationship with that first email, rather than just, hey, I have something to sell you, right? So again, looking at those intuitive types of conversations, and instead of, since you're doing it through email, you'd be you're not doing it in person, like you're talking to someone. You got to think about what would that conversation then look like written out, right? So instead of, like, you're not getting to have the face-to-face interaction or on the phone yet, you're trying to get there, but you're trying to do a much harder thing then. You're trying to get someone to know and like you from just an email. Okay, so that's pretty difficult, number one. But number two, I'll give you a couple of tips here, just how to start out. Might help get you more responses there, is to show, this goes back to that piece of adding value. The really good cold outreach emails that I have seen have done these couple of things. And number one was that they actually treated me like they knew my business, okay, where they actually took the time, a few minutes, maybe it takes like 5 or 10 minutes to go do some research on a potential client, where they checked out my website or looked at my social media or something. They at least get to know what my business is about. They're not just sending me a canned email of this, just the, a copy paste for everyone that they're going to talk to. They actually went and looked at my business name, what it's about, who are you talking to, whatever. And they put something about that in the email, number one. Then number two, they're trying to provide value from the very get-go, from the start. So what they might do, I've seen people do, is they provide just a little sample. And so, for example, I do marketing. So one thing I would do for clients that are just doing cold outreach is I would actually go and do a little quick evaluation. Maybe I'm trying to sell them on social media management or something. I'm going to go straight to their social media channels. Those are easy to find. Look them up on the Google, and so just do a quick audit on their channels. What do I find that could be improved there really quickly? And then go back to them and say, hey, you know, these are the kinds of services I do. I took a few minutes to go and check out your channels, and I found that, you know, you could probably use some more help here. This is what I see with my clients, and this is why I think I could help you do it better. And if you're willing to set up a time to talk with me, here's, you know, my appointment scheduler. So those are a couple of tips I would say for sure to start implementing if you're not already doing those now, to help get better responses back and not just have your emails go straight to junk mail, right? Some people it's so hard, they might not even still look at the email, but at least you're putting in the effort there, and it has a much higher rate of getting someone to be interested. Okay, so don't send the canned emails, make them more personal, get a little creative for how you're going to reach out to people and provide some kind of value right off the get-go. Okay, so those would be my first few tips. And then also planning your follow-ups. So if you do say one follow-up email or something like that, always be trying to add more value, putting something else in those follow-ups, and then just put them on a schedule. Every lead, you know, that I have goes down a certain has like a calendar, a lead tracker. Okay, so I have so many numbers of follow-ups that I'm going to provide per lead. Like, that's just not a question. It's a set number. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5 follow-ups, whether they might be calls, they might be emails, whatever you're using, but they each have a different purpose as well. Each follow-up, you know, say you just keep reaching out and you're getting 0 response. I keep going until I get a response. Okay, even if it's no, leave with me alone, at least it's something. Okay, I got to get that hard no before I stop, because you just never know. You really don't. You don't want to assume. In sales, we never want to assume anything, but you don't want to assume that it's a no until they actually tell you. Okay, so just create a schedule. Say, okay, this email number 1 goes out on this date, number 2, number 3, whatever. And then after that, we still don't hear back from them. You can say, all right, just going to put them on my outreach, like your ringer for like a month from now. Like, maybe you'll reach back out in a month. Okay, and then a month, and then a month, but you keep going until you get an absolute no, not right now, or no, I don't want this. Okay, and even then, as we always say in sales, a good salesperson always says a no is never is not really a no for good. It's a no for right now, or it's a no, I need more information, or it's a no, we need to build a relationship first, but it's just not right now. So keep going with those follow-ups for sure, but make that plan and always provide value. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if that makes sense to you. You can take yourself off mute or put something else in the chat. That was great. Cool. Awesome. Glad I got that handled for you. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap up for the day? And these are really great. Thank you for these, because it's going to help benefit other people as well as they're watching this. All right, not seeing anything yet. Don't forget, take advantage of that, my scheduling link right over there on the side. So if you have any more questions, I'm here for you guys, okay? I always leave my contact info here at the end of the presentation too. I'll go back really quick and share that with you so that you have it. Oop. Okay, there's the contact info for you guys as well. You can feel free to email me. Like I said, I'm very open to talking with you about anything in your marketing and branding. We can just get it on a quick little phone call, or if you just want to follow on social media, I give out tips there as well. I'll usually announce stuff that I'm providing. I have an email list as well. You can get notified when I do free webinars on any of my other subjects that we go around. They're few and far between. So if you're on the email list, you'll get notified first and right away. All right, guys. So yeah, keep in touch. And this has been so awesome to be here with you guys. Thank you for allowing me to be here and present and help provide some information, some knowledge around things that might help your business. So yeah, thank you. I'm just so grateful to help out and to provide some more knowledge, guys.
Thank you so much for being with us and taking the time to do these workshops. This workshop was recorded like the other ones, so it'll be posted on our social media for those of you that were able to join us and want to go back and watch this one or maybe miss the other ones. And those that weren't able to join us and can go back and watch it. And yeah, make sure to click on those links that Amanda shared with us and take advantage of those resources. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys. Hope to see you all again sometime soon.
Bye.
Bye.